what would you say to airmen that are getting to their first base? Like, what would be some practical stuff that they can do to kind of get connected to a church and find a community?
Yeah, no, that's a great question because for me, as a new believer in the Air Force, I was constantly looking for fellowship. I was at the chapel in basic training, which a lot of people go to the chapel, but then in tech school, like I was at the chapel. I was a chapel rope.
Hmm.
Like I saw God called me into the military to fulfill his purposes, his will.
Mhm.
And so it was a mission field for me. And so I think that if you're a believer in Christ and you find yourself in the military, then I think it's time that you start to be intentional. But if you kind of like me believe that's where God has called you and it is your ministry, then you need to seek out other people who have a like mind. When I got to my first duty station at Hurlburt Field, uh, God blessed me and hooked me up with this guy named Bill, and he was part of a missionary organization called the Navigators. And
Mhm.
so immediately I started to learn about becoming a disciple of Christ and what that meant, right? Because the church I came from, they were very charismatic and you could tell that they loved God and they loved people. But what they lacked was any sort of structure or discipline and or any sort of like way to grow closer to God other than just go crazy when you're worshiping, in worship service. Just go nuts,
Mhm.
which is awesome. It has a lot of feelings, has a lot of emotion involved in it, but the emotions don't last, right? It's just like anything. When it's new, it's fun, it's exciting, but once it starts to get old, then you're tempted to just drop it. And unfortunately, I think that's a lot of people's experience with God. Like once God's no longer exciting, then you got to drop him. But that's why it's so important for a young airman to get involved with other believers and find somebody who will mentor and disciple you, because when you're a youngster, you need that.
Yeah.
But yeah, finding that community is super important.